Hello and welcome to Open WebUI Inside Out. I'm Daniel from Tiger Triangle Technologies, and this is installing Open WebUI, the deep dive. Now, I have a related video installing Open WebUI walkthrough. If you didn't catch that video already, be sure and check that out. But in this video, we're going to dive deeper into the actual command and break it down and just kind of learn what's actually going on. So we're here at docs.openwebui.com once again, and we used the command right here for installing the Docker container and for GPU support. I am going to break this one down right here, but it will apply just as much to the others as well, except for this down here. The one we're going to talk about doesn't have this -e, so I'll just talk about that right now. So the -e actually sets an environment variable inside the container. So in this case, you have -e WebUI underscore auth equals false. So that sets the WebUI underscore auth environment variable to a value of false, and that's used to enable single user mode. So when the application runs, it looks for those environment variables and then changes the functionality. Okay, so let's break down now the command that we ran last time. Now remember, we did a Docker run, but the first step they said to do was a Docker pull, and you can pull an image down that way. But if you do a Docker run, it doesn't find the image locally. It's going to pull it for you. So that's what we did. And we did this Docker run. And what that does is initiates a new container from a specified image. And that specified image in this case is right down here on the end. And the next thing that we see is a -d. So what's that? So the -d runs the container in detached mode, so which means it's in the background. It's not tied to your terminal. Next, we have a -p, and that is for port mapping, and it specifies the ports. Here we have 3000 for the container, and on the inside it maps it to 8080. Next, we have the --GPUs all, and what that does is grants the container access to all available GPUs on the host. So in our case, on my laptop. And that's used for any task that might require some kind of GPU acceleration. And we'll talk more about GPUs in just a second. But you can see down here at the end, it is tagged with CUDA, which CUDA is the API for NVIDIA. They're just tagging that so it differentiates this image from others like main. Okay, so next we have -v, and that creates a volume to persist data. So it's a pretty important one. And what it means in this case is the Open WebUI volume on the host is mounted to this app backend data folder. That's really important because it ensures that your data persists. So next is --name Open WebUI, and that just gives it a user-friendly label, so you can reference it later without having to type in this long, ugly identifier. So you can type in something like Docker stop Open WebUI instead. And lastly, we have the image name here. Okay, and in this case, like I mentioned earlier, and this image is coming from the GitHub container registry here. Something I want to clarify though is that if you're just chatting with Open WebUI like normal, and you're using Ollama for your model inference, then Ollama is going to be the one that you're going to want to use your GPU. It can use your CPU, but the important thing there is you'll want to have Ollama using your GPU and supporting your GPU if possible, not Open WebUI in that case. So you might be thinking, well, why do you even want to have this GPU support in Open WebUI? So there's a couple reasons why you might want that. One is when you're running embedded models on documents using RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. We'll talk about that another time. Another reason, if you're using speech to text using Whisper models, then Open WebUI would take advantage of the GPU acceleration then as well. And we'll talk maybe more about the Whisper models when we talk about speech to text later on. And inside Docker Desktop, you can see some of these things in here as well, right? You can see the name we talked about and the image right here. And you can see the port mapping. So 3000 on the outside here of the container maps to 8080 on the inside. And if we launch it here, it's going to bring up localhost 3000. So you can see it using that port. All right, before we wrap this up, I do want to give just one kind of fun fact here and throw this in. Open WebUI was not always named Open WebUI. It used to be called Ollama WebUI, and not that long ago, actually. If you look here, this was posted January 30th, 2024. Help us choose a new name. And they have a couple options, One WebUI and Open WebUI. It's kind of funny if you read through this, if you get a chance. Kind of funny, I thought. Anyway, some of them were like, "Oh, it's fine either way," but then it got in this like heated discussion. Not heated, but it got this long discussion. A lot of people just did not like those options that they had, and they were throwing out all kinds of other names here. You can see, well, here's Lex, and then if you go down here, I think they were concerned about the name Ollama being trademarked, and also they wanted something that was good for search engine optimization. You can see this person here doesn't want to lose the mascot, the little llama. Here's one that's dog 3, but I think it's 3 is supposed to be like an E, sort of Doge. Anyway, okay, so there's a big discussion here. And then there's a poll, and they had these 4 options here. You can see an Open WebUI won at 41%. It got chosen, and it could have been these other 3. What do you think? Leave a comment if you want, and let me know if you would have wanted one of those other names or a different name. A lot of opinions out there. Also, if you know of other reasons that we would want GPU support for Open WebUI, other than the 2 I mentioned, or if you have anything that would clear all that up, then definitely leave a comment. Let us know. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time as we learn Open WebUI inside out.